Do you ever go into a pet store and look at the care there and think, oh my goodness, this needs to change? Well, today I'm going to be talking about how we should handle pet store keeping conditions. And I'm sure this is something that is relatable by most people here, that once you get involved with the community and you start doing research, you start learning what proper husbandry for a chameleon is. And that makes it also much more disturbing when you go into pet stores and you see them not being taken care of the way they should. Not only is it an immediate problem for that chameleon, but also for anybody who comes into that pet store, they think that's an okay way to keep a chameleon. And if any of you have spent time on the chameleon forums or in a Facebook group and are helping beginners, you know it's filled with people who joined the community after buying a chameleon at a pet shop, and their care needs to be totally changed around. I mean, even if the care was minimalistic because it had to be a pet store, the fact that the pet store, the supposed experts, sent these people home with the wrong cage and the wrong equipment, that just drives us crazy, because the new chameleon owner just wanted the best for their pet, and they would have been willing to pay if the pet store would have only carried the correct equipment. The new owner would have paid for it. The question, of course, is, what do we do about it? And there are a number of levels that we can attack this problem. The first one I want to talk about is your local pet store. This is the one you walk into. They've got a manager, they've got people right there, they've got employees, and it's very easy to go off on this manager and the employees. Even though that is the most convenient way to express your distaste for their decisions, I want to encourage caution. Those people don't always have the power to do changes. And there are so many people who learn things on the internet and come in and just start yelling that that employee may look at you as though you are crazy, and they might be right. By this time, they are used to Facebook educated people all in self-righteous wrath coming in and just talking about how they know nothing. And it's a good idea for us to step back and realize what we look like to that poor pet store employee or the manager. How do they tell the difference between these crazy people and you who has the right way to do it? I mean, even me, if I go in, I am Bill Strand from the Chameleon Academy, they're going to look at me and say, who? Because anybody can and does come into their pet store and say, hey, I'm Joe Blow and I've got a big Facebook group. I'm Mary Sue and I know better than you. And it's like everybody has some sort of qualifications that they feel should mean that the pet store employee or manager needs to listen to them. But they've heard this and seen this over and over and over again, and all they know is you got some person spitting mad about how they know better. And you're saying, oh, but wait a minute, I don't yell at him. I'm nice and calm. Okay, well, you also think that you know better, and so you're coming in with an air of self-righteousness. And you only care about the animal. I know you only are concerned about the chameleon. But, once again, why should they listen to you? You see, here's the problem. Even if you know the right way to take care of chameleons and you just want to do it to help the chameleons and help the store, so does the person who came in before you, who has a totally different view on chameleon care. Just look at our community. You've got people who believe that fogging is the only way to hydrate a chameleon. You've got people who think that cup drinking is the only way to give water to a chameleon and that misting will kill your chameleon. And then you got people who say, no, you got to mist during the day. Well, what if those three people come and talk to the same pet store employee? What in the world is that pet store employee supposed to do? Which one of you very confidently sounding people are they going to listen to? And if they choose one of you, what happens when the other two come back the next day and see that it's absolutely opposite of what they said? So the way to affect change at a pet store is you need to let them know that you are not a crazy person. And that comes from having a personal relationship with the people you're talking to. They need to have seen you for a while, so they know that you're a local, you know their store. You've been around long enough that they know your name and you know theirs. And then you have earned the right to give your opinion as to the chameleon care. And listen to them, because, if it's your Petco, the manager only has a certain amount of leeway as to what the store is going to look like. and what animals they get in. So if you want to help solve problems, you have to be able to talk to the people to understand the playing board. You need to understand the field of battle, so to speak. And so you can work with them within the parameters that they are allowed to work with. And that is the way that you can make a difference on a local level. Now you're saying, okay, maybe we need to go and make the changes at a national level. Maybe we're going to go make changes at the top of the pet store chain. People who are in charge. If the CEO says, well, we're going to do different for the chameleons, then every store does it. I mean, that's a good place to go. Well, once again, now you have to establish yourself as a credible information source. And if you thought the pet store employee was hearing all of these voices over and over and over again, imagine what the CEO is hearing. They've got the board of directors, they've got PETA, they've got Congress. And so with all of those voices, it's kind of hard for some chameleon enthusiasts to say, hey, I think you should change your care of chameleons. Now, people in the past have tried to do write-in campaigns and do something to get attention. And how effective is that? I don't know. I can say, looking at the evidence, we in the chameleon community have panned the Zoo Med chameleon kit so badly for so long, called it the death kit, and if anybody buys it, we send them packing to go get something else. Finally, something clicked at Zoo Med and they said, oh, we better make a better chameleon kit. Now, obviously, the chameleon kit that they made was not in consultation with people from the chameleon community. It sounds like they kind of made half steps to one that would actually work. So the new deluxe chameleon kit that they have now is better, but it's still something that we're going to send the people who buy it packing saying, get something better. And usually the things that we send them to go get are still Zoo Med products. So it's not like we're sending them to another company. I don't even want to get into whatever happened there, but something happened and they listened. I don't know the details behind that. I don't know what actually made a difference. And it's probably just a building of everything. And so even though these letter, write-in, email campaigns or protests may not show immediate results, it all adds up over time. Now, I don't necessarily like the protests, and I don't like demonizing companies because I'm acutely aware of how important Petco, PetSmart, and large companies like Zoo Med and Exoterra are for our community. Even if they produce the chameleon kit, even if they're showing chameleons in wrong enclosures, they are an important part of our community and helping our community grow. So I don't want to demonize them, and I don't think you should either. What we should do is be working with them to try to make the conditions better. Now you're saying, how do we do that? And yes, I know that's the problem, and it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Now there is another change afoot that is a positive sign, and that is PetSmart is now carrying Arcadia products. And so we have some movement towards some quality products. And the reason why this is worth bringing up is because Arcadia products are more expensive, and there has been enough of a groundswell within the community that PetSmart said, hey, there's a market here. And yes, you're saying, oh, it shouldn't be all about the money. It should be about the animals. Okay, yes, you're right. And please hold on to that. But the fact is, if we make it about the money and we figure out how to make sure the money works, it's amazing how much easier things happen. Because when you're talking about these large companies, you've got people with spreadsheets that have never seen the animals. They're just skews. So coming at it with an emotional argument, even though we all agree that's what it should be about, is not going to work. But if you come at it with a financial argument saying the community has become so aware of higher quality products that they are now going to online stores that offer these high quality products instead of Petco or PetSmart. And if you want to capture more market share, you bring in those quality products and put them on the shelves. That argument works. And you know what drives that argument? Building the community with proper husbandry. And do you know what builds the community with proper husbandry? And you may guess where I'm going with this. And this is something that every one of us can do. That is, if you're on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of these, give your chameleon the absolute best husbandry possible and show that off as an example. Here is the point. I know so many people are proud that they've made the cheapest cage and they got the cheapest stuff, and so they've taken care of their chameleon for $25. Look at me, aren't I so great? Yeah, well, usually in those cases it looks like you spent $25 on it. It looks like you threw something together. I know you're very proud of that. But if you really want to make a change in the community that really has far-reaching consequences and makes the community better, invest in your setup. Show the community what products you are willing to buy. When you say, hey, I'm willing to get a top-of-the-line misting system, you can bet that eventually someone at Petco or PetSmart is going to say, hey, wait a minute, we can make more money if we carry Mist King. Okay? You see how that works? And so this is how quality equipment starts getting spread to the masses. And it starts with us showing on social media how we put together our chameleon cages. What is the acceptable level of quality? When we show off our cages that are decked out with the plants and the lights and the hydration systems, and the people that are watching our social media say, oh, wow, that's what I want for my chameleon, that message gets bounced around the community as this is what's expected. And so that eventually trickles its way to the people who want to make money selling to the community. Now, I will say, the one challenge that we still need to work on is how to get information to the people at the point of sale. And what I mean by that is the people who come in for dog food see a chameleon and say, I want this chameleon, tell me about it. How do we get good information to that particular person? And that is a challenge I've been working on, I continue to work on, and we just need to keep hammering at it until we can actually get in front of that. Of course, the pet stores having large cages is the way to do it, but that's probably not going to happen because chameleons don't bring in enough money to dedicate that amount of space to a display, at least not at this point. So I am absolutely not giving up at changing the information that people get at the point of sale. We still need to work on solving that. But what do those people do once they have a chameleon? Often, not always, but often they look to become part of an online community, whether that's Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. They come to find other people who are working with chameleons. If we haven't figured out how to get in front of the point of sale, we can at least catch them as soon as possible in their chameleon keeping experience. And that means, yes, I'm going to say it again, be patient with beginners. Be understanding when they come to our social media groups, all confident that they've done everything they're supposed to do. And we have to say, I'm sorry, you got the wrong information. And then we have to convince them that they should listen to us instead of the person who told them the information, who had a uniform on. How can they be wrong? And you're just a digital person on the internet. How can you be right? And so we need to be understanding and welcoming. And the more people on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, showing what a chameleon cage should look like, the more what we say resonates as, oh yeah, I can see that the entire chameleon community thinks that large naturalistic enclosures are the way to go. And so this problem of getting the correct information out for the beginning chameleon keeper is a multifaceted problem, and we need to attack it on many fronts. And I absolutely encourage you to get involved in helping get the information out there. But the main message that I want to communicate in today's video is to be kind to the pet store employees and the pet store managers. Give them a reason to trust you beyond that you say you're right, just like everybody else who came in with contradictory information saying that they're right. Show them that you are a reasonable human being and that you care. I know it takes work, but develop some sort of relationship with them. I don't mean you have to go to dinner with them. I mean that you're there in the pet store. You talk kindly with them. They see you over and over again, so they know that you are part of the community there. Get to know them by name. Get to know what their background is, where they're getting information. This is not just pumping them for information. This is getting to know where they're coming from. Is all this information from corporate Is this just a summer job and they don't care about reptiles? Do they know what the proper husbandry is, but they're trying to work within the constraints put on them by the management? All of this helps you relate to them, talk to them as a human being and at the level that they're at, which makes you a rational person to have a conversation with. And then finally, please do your part to help the people who do make it to social media and need help. Be patient with them, be understanding, and most of all, and this is something everyone can do, and show a great example of what a chameleon enclosure should look like. You showing pictures of a beautiful enclosure will speak volumes more than you telling somebody what they should do. We've been working at this for quite a while, and we've got quite a long ways to go. But let's keep going forward with respect for the chameleons and the way we take care of them, and respect for the people that we are trying to help others better. Thank you very much for spending your time with me on this video. And please let me know what you think in the comments. What are your experiences and what has worked for you? Either talking with people, talking with corporate, welcoming people via social media, or being able to just be an example on social media. I'd love to read your stories. And with that, I'd like to send you off to enjoy your chameleon. Take care of yourself, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time.